5th year of my marriage to Felix. My lung disease reached its terminal stage. On that very day, his longtime love Willia returned home in triumph after winning an international medical award. He hung up on my 10th call for help to host a celebration dinner for Willia. He finally answered the 11th call.
Luna, stop using the same old tricks to get my attention. Disturb Willia again, and you'll regret it.
On our wedding anniversary, I died in our marital home. In my hand were a divorce agreement and a handwritten fragrance note card. He never knew that I was the one who carried him out of the fire 5 years ago, leaving myself with permanent injuries. Our 5th wedding anniversary, my lung disease was terminal. Every breath felt like shards of glass scraping my woatpipe. Our wedding photo hung on the wall. I forced a smile while he looked cold, not even bothering to pretend. My phone screen lit up, showing a row of bright red missed calls from Felix, all unanswered. I used my last ounce of strength to dial the number I knew by heart. It was the 11th time. This time, it went through. Loud music and the clink of glass blared in the background. I opened my mouth, my voice husky beyond recognition. Felix, I'm in so much pain, help. Before I could finish, he cut me off. Felix, I'm in so much pain, help. Before I could finish, he cut me off.
Luna, don't pull stunts today. Do you really have to ruin Willa's celebration?
I hadn't even processed his words. A soft, sweet female voice chimed in at the perfect moment. It was Willa.
Felix, don't be like that. Sister might really be unwell.
She called me sister. It turned my insides bitter. Her tone dripped with unbridled showiness.
Out of breath again? Sister's old illness is such a worry.
She was reminding Felix, reminding him that I had a history of faking illness.
You know her tricks. She's been faking sickness since 5 years ago.
5 years ago, he was talking about the fire. I laughed, so I'd just been a misunderstood fool from the start.
I'm warning you, Luna. Behave. Don't bother me.
The call was hung up cruelly. The busy beep sounded like the countdown to my death. Tears slid down my cheeks uncontrollably, cold as ice. So my cry for help was just a trick. My life was worth less than a celebration dinner for his beloved. Brilliant fireworks outside for Willa was worth less than a celebration dinner for his beloved. Brilliant fireworks outside for Willa, lighting up half the night sky. They also illuminated my pale, paper-thin face. The signed divorce agreement lay quietly there. Next to it was an exquisite dark green perfume bottle, a perfume I made myself named Lies. I closed my eyes peacefully. Felix, these 5 years of marriage were a long, painful torture. Now it was finally over. And finally, I didn't have to love you anymore.
Mr. Felix, your wife, she...
What now? Threatening to take sleeping pills again? Let her throw her fit. She'll quiet down when she's tired.
Mr. Felix, your wife is gone.
Tell her to stop acting.
Felix, did you leave early? Everyone wants another drink with you. Did sister call again? Don't be mad at her. She's unwell and always emotional.
The flashing red and blue lights at the villa gate stung his eyes. An ambulance waited, a huge, ominous sign. His heart felt as if it were being squeezed, but he still refused to believe it. His heart felt as if it were being squeezed, but he still refused to believe it.
Luna, you've really gone all out this time.
He kept calling your name in his heart. A doctor in a white coat stopped him, his face grave.
Mr. Felix, my condolences. Mrs. Felix has no vital signs.
Felix stood frozen. Absurd. That was the only thought in his head. He pushed the doctor aside and rushed inside like a madman. The living room was messy. Things knocked over in my struggle. On the bedroom bed, a human shape lay still under a white sheet. He wanted to run and pull it off, but his feet felt heavy as lead. The hand that controlled the business world trembled violently in midair. He didn't dare touch it. He was afraid that under the sheet lay a reality he couldn't face.
Mr. Felix, this is Miss Luna's personal item which she instructed be given to you personally.
On top was a divorce agreement. In the bottom right corner, my signature Luna was written with my last strength. Next to the agreement was a dark green perfume bottle. My neat handwriting labeled it, Lies. Under the perfume was a handwritten fragrance note card. Under the perfume was a handwritten fragrance note card. Under the perfume was a handwritten fragrance note card. Top note, champagne from the celebration dinner. Heart note, white roses you gave her. Base note, hospital disinfectant, and the cold metal of a hung-up phone.
Luna, you have to haunt me like this even in death?
Felix ordered everything related to me removed from the villa. My clothes, my books, the flowers I grew, even the cups I used. The servants worked quickly. Within half a day, no trace of me remained. Except for the perfume named Lies. He kept it. In the dead of night, the huge villa was silent. Felix sat in the empty living room, holding the cold bottle. He stared at the two words as if trying to burn through them. Against his will, he pulled out the stopper. He didn't dare spray it, just leaned in to smell. A sharp mix of sweet champagne and strong alcohol flooded his nose. He instantly remembered the top-grade champagne he'd opened for Willa hours earlier. The liquid glowed gold in the crystal glass. Willa's smile was more intoxicating than the wine. Meanwhile, I was dying alone in the cold villa. He slammed the stopper back on, wanting to throw it away. But his finger moved on its own, pressing the spray gently into the air. The mist filled the air. The top note faded, and the soft rose heart note emerged, rich, fragrant. He brought them home and found me watering gardenias on the windowsill. I saw the roses and said nothing. The next day, the gardenias I'd planted and tended for 3 years were cut to stubs. At the time, he thought I was being unreasonable and overreacting. Now, the rose scent squeezed his heart like an invisible hand. Finally came the cold, sharp smell of disinfectant, mixed with an indescribable metallic tang. He remembered. It was the busy tone he'd heard so many times after hanging up on me at the hospital, outside operating rooms, by Willa's bed. Every scent matched a moment he'd ignored, belittled, and hurt me. For the first time, he realized his memory could be so vivid. His phone rang abruptly. It was Willa.
Felix, are you okay? Don't be sad over sister's prank. She just wants attention. I heard you threw her things away? Good, so you won't be reminded
Don't mention her again.
He looked around the empty house and realized for the first time it was not a home. It was a tomb. Mine and his. Felix lost his mind in the villa. Even though nothing of mine remained, my presence was everywhere. He finally rushed into my perfume studio, a forbidden room he'd never entered. The air still held my faint scent, herbs and medicine. He hunted like a caged animal, searching for something. Maybe proof I was alive, maybe an excuse to ease his guilt. Then he saw a metal cabinet that stood out. It was locked. Felix couldn't find the key, so he grabbed a hammer and broke the lock. The door sprang open. There were no fragrances, no bottles inside, only an old DV camera and dozens of neatly stacked tapes. Each tape was labeled with a date. He picked the most recent tape and tremblingly inserted it. The screen flickered and turned on. On screen was my pale, almost translucent face. Felix, I'm dying. You owe me this illness. As soon as I finished, I bent over and began coughing violently. It was no ordinary cough. It felt like I was coughing up my lungs. I covered my mouth. It was no ordinary cough. It felt like I was coughing up my lungs. I covered my mouth, and bright red blood seeped through my fingers. Felix's hand shook. The camera nearly fell. He frantically fast-forwarded through the tapes. One after another. He watched me curl up in pain late at night, crying silently. He watched me go to the hospital alone, holding stacks of reports, sitting lost in the hallway. He watched me force a smile for the camera. The weather is nice today. I'm still alive. His heart was gently squeezed, hurting so badly he could barely breathe. He finally reached the bottom. There was the oldest tape. Its label faded, written in red, fire. Next to it, do not watch. Felix's heart raced. A terrible premonition washed over him. Trembling, he inserted the tape. He pressed play. The image shook violently. Flames roared. Smoke blowed. Then a girl's hoarse but steady voice cut through the fire, singing. It was a tune he'd never heard, yet it had comforted him endlessly in that desperate moment. The
camera whipped around to show a face blackened by smoke. It was the young me. In the scene, her slender creature carried his unconscious form, trudging painfully through the sea of flames. Suddenly, a burning beam crashed down straight towards him.
The final shot. My badly burned back, and my ragged, pained breathing. Felix's mind exploded. He remembered in an instant. Willa had told him she'd rushed into the fire and carried him out. She said she'd called an ambulance and sang to calm him down. But this voice, this scene, this person who protected him with her life, it was me. Felix grabbed the still-playing camera and ran out of the villa. He drove straight to the hospital where Willa worked.
What song did you sing during the fire? What song did you sing during the fire?
Felix, you're hurting me! Felix, why ask this now? It was so long ago. I don't remember.
Sing.
Is this it? I was so scared.
Let her tell you what she sang.
Wind blows over the woods.
She was the one singing. She carried me out. She took that burning beam from me. Willa, tell me, where were you?
I called 911. I waited outside.
So you were just a bystander who made a phone call?
He hated her, but he hated himself more. hated his own stupidity, his own blindness. He'd driven his savior to her death, and he'd cherished a vile liar.
Amid the stunned and disdainful stares of all colleagues and leaders, everything Willie had painstakingly built crumbled to the ground in an instant. Felix looked at Willa and felt no satisfaction, only endless regret and despair drowned him completely. Felix ran out of the hospital, his mind blank.
He didn't remember driving.
Felix ran out of the hospital, his mind blank.
He didn't remember driving. When he came to, he was outside my doctor's office. He needed my medical records. He needed to know everything. The doctor pushed a thick stack of records toward him and sighed.
Mr. Felix, Miss Luna's illness showed signs 5 years ago.
Felix's fingers tightened, knuckles white.
5 years ago?
The doctor pointed to one report.
Yes. Pulmonary fibrosis, cause clearly stated, smoke inhalation injury 5 years ago. Smoke inhalation injury?
5 words, 5 needles piercing Felix's heart.
This disease can be slowed with proper rest and emotional control, but...
The doctor looked at him with faint, unspoken blame.
Miss Luna's condition progressed abnormally these past few years. Every checkup was worse than the last, especially this past year. It declined sharply. Emotional stress is the biggest catalyst for this disease. Mr. Felix, frankly, the patient's will to live largely determines her lifespan. Miss Luna is a young woman.
Every word hit Felix's heart like a sledgehammer. Every word hit Felix's heart like a sledgehammer. He remembered every cruel word he'd said to me. Luna, can you stop being such a downer? What else do you do but fake illness? Don't bother me. I'm tired of looking at you. He remembered every night he stayed out late. He remembered bringing Willa home just to upset me, watching my pale face. He remembered Willa flaunting his kindness in front of me. He'd personally destroyed my will to live. He was the culprit. Felix stumbled home with the heavy records. He walked straight into my perfume studio and collapsed to his knees. He knelt on the cold floor, surrounded by my scent. The pain and regret he'd suppressed for so long finally broke free. He held his head and let out a painful sob. He cried. For the first time, the arrogant, cold man cried like a child. After a long cry, he looked up with red eyes and saw the dark green lies on the table. He lunged for it like a man grabbing a lifeline. Madly, he sprayed the mixture of champagne, rose, and disinfectant all over himself. Madly, he sprayed the mixture of champagne, rose, and disinfectant all over himself. Champagne from the celebration, blinding white roses, cold disinfectant. The scent that judged his sins drowned him, sending him to an endless hell. Felix changed. He became quieter, more withdrawn than before. He used all his resources and power to gather every piece of evidence. He first held a press conference. He said nothing, just had his assistant revealed all evidence to the media, the tape revealing the fire's truth.
The complete list of all the achievements Willa with all the gifts and valuables Shintred accepted from him was made public overnight, setting off a huge public uproar. Once a highly revered genius Dr. Willa we instantly notorious fraud talked about by hospital. In tears she once lavered praise in security guards. All her honors and accolades were revoked in full.
Willa's parents rushed to Felix's company, crying to cameras.
Our Willa just made a mistake!
She loved Mr. Felix so much. What was her crime?
Blame that Luna, hurting people even in death!
Felix didn't even glance at them. He sued Willa for fraud. He hired a legal team, claiming every cent back. He sued Willa for fraud. He hired a legal team, claiming every cent back. Every gift he'd given her in 5 years, including every cost of her celebration dinner. Willa's houses, cars, and luxury goods were frozen. She fell from the clouds into the mud. Finally, the court found Willa guilty of fraud. She was sentenced to prison. Felix sat in the gallery on sentencing day. He watched her pale face as she was led away and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no relief. Only a deeper emptiness. Felix began chasing traces of me. He locked himself in my perfume studio for entire days. He started learning to make perfume. The man who couldn't make coffee clumsily handled delicate flowers, learning to extract oils. He often burned or cut his fingers, but he felt no pain. One day, deep in a bookshelf, he found a thick leather notebook. On the cover, my neat writing, sense of life. Trembling, he opened the first page. First met Felix at a university library. He smelled like old paper and fresh rain grass. So peaceful. Dated autumn 6 years ago. He turned the pages. So peaceful. Dated autumn 6 years ago. He turned the pages. We're together. He took me to the beach. The wind tasted salty, like my racing heart. I made a perfume named Heartbeat. He kept going. First wedding anniversary. He didn't come home. The house smelled like cold food and my tears. Salty, bitter. 3rd year of marriage. I got sick often. The hospital always smelled like disinfectant, cold, hopeless. I began to hate white. 4th year. He said my medicine smell was disgusting. I locked myself away for 3 days and made a scent to hide it. I named it Mask. He turned further. Willa came back. His scent grew complicated. He smelled like her perfume in strange restaurants, but never like home. He read page after page. Every page held a scent, a feeling. Through the words, he relived my journey from joy to burned-out love. Every page stabbed his heart painfully. He finally reached the last page. The writing was messy, showing how weak I was. My lungs hurt again. Today I can't smell anything. Good. There are no scents left in this world worth staying for. Good. There are no scents left in this world worth staying for. The notes ended abruptly. Felix closed the book and held it tight. He buried his face in the pages, greedily breathing in my remaining scent. Tears silently sucked the paper. The day after the funeral, Lindsay stormed into Felix's office. She saw the gaunt Felix at his desk, rushed forward, and pointed at him, shouting,
Felix, you're the one who killed Luna!
Her voice cracked with tears, echoing through the office. Felix didn't flinch, just watched her quietly. Lindsay's eyes blazed with anger.
What right do you have to be here? You deserve to live in guilt forever!
I'm sorry.
Felix's lips moved, his voice horsey. Lindsay laughed bitterly.
I'm sorry? Can your sorry bring Luna back?
Lindsay grew tired, pulled an old wooden box from her bag, and set it on his desk. This was Luna's gift for you. She said to open it when you finally learned what regret means. Felix clutched the box like it was the most precious thing in the world.
Don't think she still loved you. She told me she stopped hating you. Don't think she still loved you. She told me she stopped hating you. You weren't worth it. She only pitied the girl who saved an ungrateful man in the fire 5 years ago!
Lindsay's anger grew as she watched him. She grew angrier. Her words stabbed Felix's heart like the sharpest knife. She finished, turned, and left without looking back. Stopped hating. Not worth it. It hurt worse than any curse. Felix tortured himself for months. He locked himself in the villa, seeing no one, working on nothing. He wasted away visibly, gaunt and empty-eyed. The only thing he did each day was hold the box and stare. He didn't dare open it. He feared it was another judgment against him. He feared he couldn't bear it. Until a snowy night when the power went out, leaving the villa in dark silence. Felix fumbled in the dark and finally made up his mind. Trembling, he opened the box. There was no letter, nothing he expected. Only one perfume bottle, clear glass, warm amber liquid inside. My handwriting labeled it If. Felix's heart clenched. He pulled the stopper and sprayed a light mist on his wrist. He pulled the stopper and sprayed a light mist on his wrist. A scent I'd never worn flooded the air. It smelled like the first ray of morning sun, like fresh citrus peeled after rain, like soft spring wind through white gardenwiths. It was hope, joy, happiness, the scent of all that was good, a scent truly mine, one he'd never known. He suddenly remembered gardenians were my favorite. But later, I'd pulled them all out myself. He buried his nose in his wrist, breathing in the warm scent, tears pouring out. At the bottom of the box, he found a small card. By faint snowlight, he read my words, my handwriting softer than any page in Sense of Life. Felix, I once wanted to bottle all the beauty I'd ever smelled and felt and give it to you. I wanted to name it If. Too bad you lost both it and me. Not redemption, If. This perfume was not judgment, not revenge. It was the only beauty I'd held out to him, which he'd pushed away. Felix couldn't hold on any longer. He knelt on the floor, holding the perfume, and cried aloud. His cries echoed through the villa, hopeless in the silent snow. He cried until he fainted. Cries echoed through the villa, hopeless in the silent snow. He cried until he fainted, still clutching the beauty he'd lost forever. When Felix woke, he was a different man. He stopped locking himself away and returned to work. But his first act was to sell the empire he'd built. He gave away his fortune and founded a lung disease foundation in my name. He poured all his money into helping people suffering like me. He did good deeds, attended charity galas, donated to poor patients. The media called him the Good Felix.
But only he knew nothing could fill the huge hole in his heart. He wasn't redeeming himself. He was only punishing himself endlessly. He began to hallucinate. He always smelled my faint gardenite scent in empty rooms.
Luna, the wind is strong today. Like the day we met.
He'd turn and see me in a white dress smiling at him.
Luna, try this. It's your favorite. Luna, try this. It's your favorite.
He turned the cold villa into a memorial to me. It was filled with my photos, from childhood to adulthood. The yard was full of gardenins. He always carried the nearly empty If, lifting it to his nose to breathe gently, as if drinking the only nourishment that kept him alive. He didn't dare spray it anymore. He feared when it was gone, no trace of my warm scent would remain. Everyone said Felix had changed. He had. Changed to live in a world without me, yet full of me. 10 years later, at the suburban cemetery, my grave was spotless. An old, neatly dressed man with white hair came every day. No one knew his name or where he came from. They only knew he brought fresh gardenias every morning. Then he'd hold an empty perfume bottle and whisper to my photo all day. The weather was nice that day. Felix sat by my grave, gently wiping my smiling face with a clean cloth. His movements were reverent, as if handling a treasure. He pulled out the empty amber bottle, held it to his lips, and breathed deeply. Held it to his lips, and breathed deeply. Then he smiled at the grave, sad and content.
Luna, the gardenias smell sweeter today. I brought them. Can you smell them? I smelled your F, too. So beautiful.
He carefully placed the white gardenias by the stone. Then he leaned against the cold stone, sat down slowly, and closed his eyes. Sunlight filtered through leaves, dappling his wrinkled face. A childlike peace rested on his face. He had changed, but he'd finally found his eternal home. A fragrant world built of guilt and memories, empty except for him. When I woke, I was in a pure white world. The familiar smell of disinfectant hung in the air. But I couldn't smell it. My sense of smell had died that night. I sat up and saw my transparent hands. So this is what it's like to be dead. Light, weightless, no pain. I floated out and saw Felix nailing in my studio, crying. Saw him break open the metal cabinet. Saw him collapse when he watched the tape. I should have felt satisfied, but I didn't. I just watched quietly, at peace. Like Lindsay said, I didn't hate anymore, because it wasn't worth it. Like Lindsay said, I didn't hate anymore, because it wasn't worth it. Hating takes energy. I didn't even have the energy to live, let alone hate. I watched him sell his company and start the foundation. I watched him talk to air and cry over my photo. I watched him send Willa to prison. I found it ridiculous and sad. Felix, if you knew this would happen, why did you do it? But I had no right to say it, because it wasn't just him who pushed me to the edge. It was me too. I was too foolish, too stubborn, too caught up in love. If I'd let go sooner, I might not have died so miserably. Too bad there were no ifs. Like the perfume, no matter the name, it was still lies. I drifted in this world for a long time. Long enough for Felix's hair to turn white. Long enough for the powerful Felix to become a silent old man. He came to the cemetery every day, with gardenias and the empty bottle, sitting all day. Sometimes I sat beside him, though he couldn't tell. I spoke to him, though he couldn't hear. Felix, you deserve this. Felix, you're so pitiful. Felix, if there's a next life, don't meet me. You deserve this. Felix, you're so pitiful. Felix, if there's a next life, don't meet me. Let neither of us waste the other's time.
Luna, I dreamed of you yesterday. You wore a white dress and smiled among gardenias. You said, Felix, I'm not waiting for you anymore.
Then you turned and left, and I couldn't catch up.
His voice was soft, like a breeze, but I couldn't cry. Ghosts don't have tears. A few more years passed. Felix's health worsened. He went from daily to every 3 days, then once a week. Finally, he could only come in a wheelchair, pushed by a caregiver. But he still insisted on coming. Still with gardenias, still holding the empty bottle.
Luna, I think I'm coming to find you soon. Wait for me. Don't go too fast. My legs are weak. I can't catch up.
You can't catch up to me. I've been dead 10 years, and only now do you want to chase. It's too late. But I didn't say it. I just watched him, the man I loved 10 years, hated 5, then didn't hate at all. I just watched him, the man I loved 10 years, hated 5, then didn't hate at all. He was old, truly old. White hair, wrinkled face, hands constantly shaking. But his eyes were clearer than when he was young, as if all his cunning, calculation, and coldness were washed away, leaving only pure sorrow. I suddenly felt a little sorry for him. But only a little, like a pinprick, gone quickly. Felix's last visit was on a rainy day. He brought no gardenias, only the empty bottle. He sat in his wheelchair, a caregiver holding an umbrella over him. He talked to the grave for a long time, about how many people the foundation had saved, about the gardenias blooming well, about a new perfume method he'd learned, about how much he missed me. By the end, his voice was almost gone.
Then he closed his eyes. His hand holding the bottle fell slowly. The caregiver panicked and called an ambulance, but I knew he was gone. Truly gone then this time. I floated to him and looked at his peaceful face. Suddenly I remembered the day we first met, years ago.
Your scent is too strong. Your scent is too strong. But it's nice. What is it?
I made it myself, named First Meeting. Then we met, fell in love, married, and finally parted, like a dream. A 15-year dream that left only broken pieces when it ended. I reached out to touch his face, but my hand went through him. Oh right, I'm a ghost. Ghosts can't touch living people, or dead ones.
Felix's funeral was simple, simpler than mine. Few came, only old friends and Foundation representatives.
Felix, you're free. Luna is free too. Don't meet in your next lives.
Yes, don't meet again. Some fates are wrong from the start. Wrong person, wrong time, wrong place. No matter how hard you try, it won't bloom right. Like lies, sweet top note, rich heart note, but cold disinfectant base. You can fool others, but not yourself. After the funeral, everyone left. Only my grave and Felix's stood side by side. After the funeral, everyone left. Only my grave and Felix's stood side by side. Sunlight shone down, brightening our names. I suddenly found it ironic. We weren't together in life, but neighbors in death. Felix, is this your strange way of clinging to me? But I didn't say it, because I knew he couldn't hear. It was time for me to leave. I looked at his grave one last time and floated away. Wind blew past me, carrying gardened scent. I suddenly thought of the perfume if time could turn back, if we could start over, if we'd never met. Too bad there were no ifs, only consequences. Consequences we planted ourselves, no one else to blame. I floated and floated to a strange place. No disinfectant, no gardenias, no Felix, only pure white and warm peace. I thought this must be heaven, or hell. I was dead, completely dead. Too dead to even hate. I drifted aimlessly in this world. Suddenly I saw a figure. A girl in a white dress stood with her back to me, making perfume. Her back was familiar. So familiar my heart raced. Her back was familiar. So familiar my heart raced. I floated closer to see her face. But she suddenly turned around. It was me. The 20-year-old me.
Who are you? For you.
So ghosts do have tears. They just come when it's time to cry.
Thank you. Thank you. Wind blows over the wheat slope.
I stood there, holding a new start. I suddenly understood. Death is not the end. It's another beginning. A beginning without Felix, without pain, without lies. I pulled the stopper and sprayed gently into the air. A fresh, hopeful scent filled the air. It smelled like grass, like sunlight, like freedom. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. When I opened them, I was standing in a wheat field. Wind blew, golden wheat rolling like waves, like an ocean, an endless ocean full of hope. I took a step and walked into the wheat, like an ocean, an endless ocean full of hope. I took a step and walked into the wheat. This time, I lived only for myself, only for a new start. Goodbye, Felix. Goodbye, Willa. Goodbye, the old Luna. From today on, I am just me. Me who can smell scents, see sunlight, and feel free. This is enough, truly enough. I walked in the wheat, wind brushing my cheeks. Golden wheat rustled, as if welcoming me. I didn't know where I was, or where to go. But I wasn't afraid, because I knew this time I was free. I walked for a long time until I saw a small wooden house. The yard was full of flowers and herbs. Some I knew, some I didn't. An old woman sat on the porch drying herbs.
You're here.
She acted like she knew me. I stepped closer and smelled the mixed scent of flowers and herbs. Do you know who I am?
I know you're new here. Everyone here is new. Tea? I just picked mint.
You make perfume too?
I used to, but not anymore. Perfume tires the soul.
You make perfume too?
I used to, but not anymore. Perfume tires the soul. Too many scents to remember. Now I grow flowers, dry them, make tea. Simple.
I suddenly thought of Felix. Thought of him clumsily learning to make perfume. Burned hands, cut fingers, feeling no pain. Why do you think people come here after they die?
Because they have unfinished business, or attachments they haven't let go of.
What if I've already let go? What if I don't care about anything anymore?
Then why are you still here?
I couldn't answer. Yes, if I'd truly let go, why was I still here? Why hadn't I disappeared completely? Why could I still smell mint? The old woman stood up and took a wooden box from the shelf. I took it. Clear glass, pale gold liquid inside. The label said, River of Forgetness. This isn't real water from the River of Forgetness.
Just ordinary perfume. I named it randomly.
This isn't real water from the River of Forgetness.
Just ordinary perfume. I named it randomly. But if you want, you can think of it that way. Spray once. Say goodbye to the past.
Say goodbye to the past. Easy to say, if only forgetting were that easy. But I still said thank you. I carefully put it in my pocket.
Follow this road, and you'll find a town. Many people like you there. Maybe you'll find your answer there.
I looked where she pointed. A small path wound forward, disappearing into the wheat. I thanked her again and turned away. I walked a few steps, then looked back. The old woman still stood on the porch, waving at me. Then she turned and went inside, closing the door, as if she'd never been there. I followed the path. The wheat field seemed endless. Sky blue, clouds white, sunline warm. If this is the afterlife, it's not bad. At least no pain, no breathlessness, no coughing blood. I walked for ages and finally saw the town. It wasn't what I expected. Not ancient, not modern. A mix of both. Ancient, not modern. A mix of both. Blue stone roads, wooden houses, but glass windows. People wore all kinds of clothes. Ancient, modern, mixed. No one looked at me, as if I'd always been here. I walked slowly down the street, looking at the shops. Tea houses, bookstores, flower shops, and a perfume store. Yes, a perfume store. The sign said, "Sense of Memory." I stopped at the door, hesitating to go in. Want to come in? She was in her early 20s. Ponytail, bright eyes. I nodded and followed her inside. The store was full of perfume bottles of all colors and shapes. Hundreds of scents mixed in the air, but not overwhelming. You're new here, aren't you? Can you tell? I can tell. New people have a lost look in their eyes, like they don't know why they're here. After a while, that lost look fades. Only peace remains. What does this smell like? Smell it. Smell it. It smelled like old paper, mixed with faint ink, and a hint of salty tears. This perfume was made by a writer. She wrote many letters before she died, but never sent any. After she died, she burned them and turned the ashes into this scent. She said this way they were sent. To the air, to the wind, to the past. I set the card down. Something in my heart was touched. Unsent letters, unspoken words, unfinished things. Life is full of so many regrets. Do you want it? I can give it to you. I give a scent to every new person. A welcome gift. No, thank you. I already have one. Grandma's scent. She hasn't made perfume in ages. She made one again. You're lucky. Grandma's scents are magical. She says she makes them randomly, but everyone is made with care. Treasure it. I will. One called First Love. I will. One called First Love, smelled like green apple and gardeny. One called Goodbye, autumn rain and dead leaves. One called Reunion, sunlight and hugs. Every perfume is a story, a memory, a regret. I suddenly thought, if I made a perfume, what would it smell like? What would I name it? I already made lies. And if what about now? Now that I'm dead, what should I make? There's a studio in the backyard full of supplies. Come anytime you want. Can I? Of course. Here, you can do anything you want. As long as you don't hurt others or yourself, everything else is free. Here was a studio, just like my older one. Sunlight came through the windows, gilding everything. Take your time, I'll watch the front. The girl left, leaving me alone. I walked to the table and looked at the familiar tools. My hands trembled a little. Not fear, excitement. Even in death, I still loved making perfume. This love was carved into my soul. I sat down, closed my eyes, and breathed deeply. Flower scent, grass scent, wood scent in the air, but no disinfectant. No hospital smell. I opened my eyes and chose essential oils. No disinfectant. No hospital smell. I opened my eyes and chose essential oils. What should I choose? I thought for a long time and picked 3. Orange blossom, cedarwood, amber. Orange blossom means new life. Cedarwood means strength. Amber means eternity. I wanted to make a perfume named New Life. For myself after death. For the new me. I carefully mixed the ratios, counting drop by drop. Time seemed to stand still. Only me and these scents, in this quiet studio. When finished, I sprayed a scent card. Top note, sweet orange blossom, like sunlight. Heart note, calm cedarwood, like a forest breathing. Base note, warm amber, soft and long-lasting. I smiled with satisfaction. I bottled it, stuck on a label, and wrote New Life. My handwriting was the same as before, neat and strong. Some things don't change, even in death. I put New Life in my pocket with River of Forgetfulness. Then I walked out of the studio, The girl was helping customers. She gave me a thumbs up. I smiled back. When I walked out, it was almost dark. The sunset painted the town orange-red. I suddenly didn't know where to go. No home, no destination. Only my clothes and 2 bottles in my pocket.
Little girl, you have no place to stay?
Only my clothes and 2 bottles in my pocket.
Little girl, you have no place to stay? Go to the inn at the end of the street. The owner is kind. Say Leo sent you. You'll get a discount.
I thanked him and walked to the end of the street. I saw an inn. The sign said, Home. Such a good name. Home. Where is home? For the dead, everywhere is home, and nowhere is home. I pushed the door open. A middle-aged woman sat behind the counter. A room?
Yes, Grandpa Leo sent me.
Leo is sending guests again. Okay, the inmost room on the 2nd floor. Quiet. 1 memory coin a night. Stay as long as you want.
Memory coin? Oh, you're new here. Here, we use memory coins for money. You can trade your memories for them. Happy memories, sad memories, all work. 1 memory for 1 coin. How many nights?
Memories. What memories did I have left to trade? I didn't want any memories of Felix. If I could, I'd trade them all. How many coins can I get for my memories?
New people are all like this, hurrying to sell memories. But I advise you not to trade too many. Without memories, you'll be truly empty. You can't die again, but you'll live numbly.